Hello everyone, welcome back to another Astrocraft tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how to make the basic controls of this, what you can do with it, and then I'm going to show you how to make some basic and geometrical shapes hollowed. Not like just place down a cube, just be that, but like actually have a hollow cube and stuff like that. I'll show this some basic shapes. I know, like I'll do like a hex. Not a hexagon. Well, I can't. I'll do a hexagon, an octagon, a cube. Really, just do a I'll just do a square and leave the top and bottom open. I'll also show you how to make the 2D shapes that you could use to top it off. But well, nah, it should be fine. Now, if you want to try and make a corner with a wedge in this, I would look into some. I usually use just trigonometry to make sure I got this right. Pythagorean theorem and all that. That's a basic trigonometry too. Yeah, but you don't need to know that. I'm not going to show you how to make anything like that here. But for this, I'm going to just set all my increments to 0.125. So let's start with something basic, like a cube. Let's just keep it at the size. Let's actually let's make it 8 by 8 by 8. Put that in the center. So you just gotta pretty simple. So what I'm doing here, I'm gonna explain it right after I finish it. But that's how you would make it a hollow square path. But what I was doing is when I click on this, I can select multiple parts by holding shift and then clicking on another part, and I can deselect it by still holding shift and pressing that part again. Now I could just do that, or I can type in the directions there. Now what I'm doing to multiply it, copy it, is hold shift C. I could then do that, and then to delete it, shift X. Now with the flight, it's you press control to fly, WASD to move forward, back, and side to side in whatever direction you're looking, and then E to go up, Q to go down. Now if you want to, you could see the what button you have to press to get to each of these, but this is the move tool. You press Z to go to the move tool, X to go to the resize tool, C to change orientate for the rotate tool, which allows you to change in any direction. Change this in any direction, which you could do center, which if you select two pieces is how you make a circle. Like you just copy and paste and just do that. But if you do local, you can just do something like that. Like just rotate each of them individually. You could also swap between all these types on move, resize, rotate. I think anchored and unanchored you could do the same, which I really don't know what's I have not really known the practical use of this. There might be some. Try and ask around the Astrocraft server. I will leave the Astrocraft server link in the Discord. I also have a faction while I'm still here. You can join that. That will be the second link, and then just my own community Discord will be the third. Actually, scratch that. The first link will be Astrocraft itself. Second link will be the Astrocraft Discord server. Third link, my faction. And the fourth link will be for my community Discord. Now, what? That's a basic cube, which this is the V is the paint tool. B is surface, which just changes the material of how it. Like if you put a hinge on all sides, that will if you put a block next to it, it'll rotate. It's by default set to type. Weld. In is how you change the material. Like, if I'm going to make glass, I set it to glass, and this is just my own setting. You can set it to anything. I usually do 0.7 or 0.75, and then 0.25 or 0.2 for reflectance, for some realistic glass effect. You can set it to multiple types, like even neon, which I'm not going to keep that here because I have no use for that. You could, in the material tool, you can change the material, transparency, and reflectance. Pressing M, you can anchor it, which pretty much will, here, move it over there, and then this demonstration, unanchored. Boom. That's pretty much what it does. It'll just unanchor it from this area. Collision, like you can see that it collide because collision's on. If I press enter and turn off collision, both of these will be able to go through. You'll be able to go through. That's how you would make doors that don't physically open, but you can still go through. J is how you place the components. Like you place the basic things like seat, vehicle seats, wedge, different types of trusses, blocks, cylinders, balls, corner wedges. Components are what you're going to need to build a ship, like gyroscope, so you can actually aim the ship where you need to go forward to. Med base, if it's a big ship and you need a spawn point in the ship itself. Reactors, so you can power the ship. Turret rotors, if you have guns or you're just trying to move or you need to move something. Like in a car, you can use turret rotors to turn the wheels, or you can use them to, in like my ETA 2, I use them to fold the wings. Nest folds on the wings. Artificial mass is affected by gravity. That's really all it does. That's all it is. It's also useful in cars so that you don't go flying off when you get to land. Cylinder engine and engines are the same. Cylinder engines at 2x2x2 produce no flame exhaust at the end. Cube engines at all sizes will produce a flame. So if you really want a flame, you could try and put that on, and it also fits better. This would be better for engines in the very back, which I would probably put like 2.5, so you can see a flame just for looks. But it doesn't really matter how that's set. Landing gear, when you get close enough to either another part of to another object, whether it be something else in your ship, which you can land on other ships that are outside of the safe zone. When you get close to an object, like you can use this to lock S folds, like my ETA 2, which I will show later on in the video. You can press G, and it will lock it in place. You cannot separate them. It's like if you put it onto the ground, you cannot move the ship anymore until you press G and unlock it. You'll know it's locked because it'll glow blue on the bottom, and you'll know that you can lock it because it'll turn green. Otherwise, it'll just glow white. Flashing LEDs. I'm using this in my scaled model to mimic how the camera light flashes when someone's on cams. It's just going to always do that. It's just a flashing LED. Control seat. That's how you control the ship. Pretty self-explanatory. Gravity generator. It creates a gravity effect. And by pressing P, you can see where's the field of gravity it can affect. Laser emitters. 5,000 stud range on them, and they take a lot of power. And I'm not sure if they're stronger or not, but they can be scaled up much bigger than autocannons. Autocannons have a stud range of 4,000. Wait, no. Never mind. They have an 8,000 stud range and can move 40,000. 4,000 studs per second. So pretty much in 2 seconds, it's reached its range. Muzzle velocity is 600 per minute RPM, which is rotation per minute, I believe, but it might mean something else for this. But pretty much, I think that's 600 bullets per minute. It's a kinetic energy weapon too, which is strange how you can't change the color on that. But you can change the color of a laser emitter by coloring it with the paint tool. Alright, let's go to meshes to show. Inverse tetra. That's pretty much an inverse of the tetra, as it says. If you combine these two in the same area and flip this one, like I'll show you, you can create a cube using a tetra and an inverse tetra. By doing that and that, you create a perfect cube. But why would you do that, really? It's just for like smoothing out corners and stuff like that. Like you could have a triangle, a smooth triangle corner, because you could put wedges on each side. Hemisphere, half of a sphere. Quarter sphere, a fourth of the sphere, pretty much half of a hemisphere. Eighth sphere, half of the quarter sphere. That's pretty. I have not messed with the bisected corner, so I don't know how to describe those really. Inverse half cylinder. If you want a basic circular interior that you don't care about having circular on the outside, that's good for a hatch of some sort like that. And then there's the inverse quarter, which is just half of this. So you could use this like to. I might make this into another video, but so that you're not gonna be bored sitting here this entire time. To like smooth out the corner like that. Half cylinder. Inverse of that. It's half of a cylinder. Quarter cylinder. Trapezoid. I have not really explored too far in trapezoids to understand how it will like you can change its height, thickness, and then I don't know how it determines the top base, the width of the top base, because so I'm not sure about that, but yeah. And then a cone's a cone. This is pretty much a spike. So set it to that. And H, mesh tool. You can add meshes which do not appear when in game when you spawn the ship. So that's really just if you want to try and make a block into the mesh of the thing you want to make. So you have a 3D model of what you're trying to make in game. G, textures. You can create decals in Roblox and then just import them. Import a PNG that you want to put in the decal, and you can add a decal there. I'm not sure about texture. I can look into that later, but that's more complex. F, when you're done with the ship, you select it all and make sure you hold shift. Well, not hold shift. Don't hold shift with that. Like select the whole thing, like click and drag over the whole ship, find the seat, and click the seat. And it'll connect every part to that seat, unless you want to have multiple different parts connected to different seats, like an opening hatch connected to a separate seat. You can just deselect. You can click on a part and click break connections of selection, and it'll just deselect it. U, this is light. I'll put a surface light on this half, which you can see it brightened that up. If I put it on the top, it brightens that side. I can remove that point light, which is just lights up the whole block, the whole block produces light. Spotlight only produces it in the center of a piece of a block. And P is how you see how you can select. Let me place an engine, and for example, like with P, you can have it set to automatically set which direction this moves, but you can also manually set it. And if you put down a gravity generator, that blue square is the effect that how far this affects its gravity. So that's it for that, but let's get over to more basic shapes. I'm going to have it reorient this to that. So that's an octagon in the center. Wait, what? Okay, this is going to be an issue. You have to have to make this simpler. You would for shapes like this, you need to make sure they're oriented right so that if you select them all, what? Wait. Oh, my bad. One, two, 5, 8. So you need to have it oriented so that you can see at least these two are correct. And that if we were to do it that way, it should do it the same way for all of them. It in an optimal situation, but I'm not going to do that here because I don't really need to. Now, if you want it to be really precise, you can decrease the increment even further and just get really close and make sure it's right. And you can also just edit it. Now I'm going to copy this. So this is going to be a cylinder. You got to make sure it's centered. It should be set to 15 for the cylinder I'm doing. You can do it. You could add even more sides for a smoother cylinder, but that just wastes more parts when this is already really smooth. Like, you could smooth out the side more, but the inside, pretty smooth cylinder. And that's what I'm going to use for a sphere, which I did present in the in this TIE Fighter tutorial. So I'll set this to 1.25. Now you don't need to select those because it's just gonna waste parts. Now you will have to deselect it every time. Now you could just save time by selecting the whole thing, or you can just do this. And that's using the, and that's how you would make a ball. You could smooth it out yourself, which I will show how you can make it perfectly smooth by using wedges. Maybe some other time. I'm not sure, because I don't really usually do that either. Get some basic shapes. Now, if I were to try and make a hollow triangle, I'd have to get into to Pythagorean theorem and stuff like that, so to get the length of the third side right, which is also how you would get trapezoid, really. But that's what I'm going to show you for basic geometric shapes. Tell me what you'd like me to show you next. You could even stop by the faction and we'll talk there. See ya. Bye.